You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, and you will be hated by all nations because of me.
Hey friends, welcome back to One Seal, the official podcast of Wings of the Eagle. I'm your host, Christopher Manti. Hopefully I'm a brother in Christ to you. If not, it's not too late. Today is the day of salvation. That's the most important thing we can talk about ever. So today, I didn't plan on this at all until, this morning. And then last night, hello, my friend. Please check in, by the way, wherever you're watching this on or listening. YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, etc. Love to hear from you. Know who you are, what you're doing. First-time listener or long-time or whatever. Questions, comments, or concerns, of course, I welcome. Please go ahead and put them in there. We will talk about it before we leave the air today. So last night, got home from teaching a class and saw this new update from Lue Elizondo. He issued a statement, and Matt Ford and Ross Coulthart were talking about it and all that. So I'm like, I know these guys. I mean, I know these names now since, July, when I've really poured my energies into getting to the bottom of this situation as much as possible with the whole UFO, UAP, and associated cover-up materials. Is there a cover-up? What's true? What's not? What should Christians do about it? Most importantly, right? I mean, I have my own curiosity, but then as the Church of Jesus, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to think? How are we supposed to act? Can we know anything right now? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So up till now, I have I've really kind of, I don't want to say distanced myself or stayed away from it, but I've seen several interviews Lue has done. Lue Elizondo, okay, that's the guy's name, and I watched several things that he had done, especially last year, just getting up to speed on all this, and there was always some kind of counterpoint or semi-controversy about who he is or what he's been doing, or is he for real, or maybe he's telling half-truths and whatever. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And the impression that I got was, just from watching him, his way about him in an interview is not natural. And that doesn't mean anything. It just means he's not the interviewing type of guy. His personality is not really into that. So I understand that. But it always came across like he was very somber all the time, very, very somber. And like, I should know about that, but almost like so serious, and everything was so very urgent and serious. And he, there's things he could never say, or every time there was an interview, it was like, I can't really get into that. So that kind of ticked me off, to be honest with you. It's like, okay, fine, enough. But as time has gone on here, his story, and his very consistent story, by the way, I don't think it's ever changed, has been validated more and more. And to the point where claims he made several years ago in like 2018, area, about being threatened physically by his former employer for coming out and talking about this stuff, seemed like all right, I don't know if that's true at all. How do you ever prove such a thing? To all of a sudden, it seems very real as of last night. And looks like it's true, like right now. So I said, okay, time to revisit this. If you don't know anything about this topic, if you're new to this or whatever, you don't know who this guy is, it's possible that this is one of those situations of historical importance that most every time involves somebody who's very human, imperfect, but yet a central figure in the big changes in the world. So seems to be that guy. And if you don't know who he is, let me do a quick bio, okay? Of him. The reason why anyone knows who he is because he is basically the original source whistleblower from the Pentagon that started talking to the New York Times and Leslie Kean and Ralph Blumenthal back in 2017, or the story was published in 2017, and he was the source for much of it. And it was the bombshell story, right? This is where we have gotten to where we are. As far as the government admitting UAPs and UFOs are real, that we have videos of them, and that we don't know what they are, and they're not our stuff. All these revelations, but still we're slow rolling it ever since then to get to congressional investigations and inspector generals, complaints from other whistleblowers besides him, who we know one of them now, David Grush from last year. But anyway, so that's the reason why we know him really at all. And I think he would be fine with never being known, but he felt compelled because what he saw was not only unpatriotic to him as an American and as a military service member of many years, but immoral in his view and illegal. And there was very illegal. And there was no remedy. There was no effort to stop doing it or to change anything. So he felt like this was the only thing he could do. And so that's how you know him. Okay, so what's his bio a little bit? Straight from his mouth. Son of a Cuban immigrant father who was a dissident of the Castro regime. His father spent time as a political prisoner for his involvement in the Bay of Pigs. Luis grew up in South Florida, and as a young man, often exposed to my father's efforts in helping to change the political situation in Cuba. In other words, to overthrow Castro. Later, I attended University of Miami with double majors in microbiology and immunology and minors in chemistry. That's a lot of work. Double major and a minor. I also gained advanced research experience in parasitology, parasites, and certain tropical diseases such as malaria and trypanosomiasis. I don't even know what that is. Sorry. My goal with these degrees was to enter the medical field. During my research, so he's wanted to be a doctor. During my research experience, I was tangentially exposed to government agencies that were interested in biological research and intelligence. It was at this point I decided to pursue a career in intelligence and realize my true passion. I also decided to enlist in the U.S. Army as a counterintelligence special agent. I was assigned to South Korea, later to the Southwest in America. As a young agent, I conducted counter-espionage investigations, provided technology, protection of advanced aerospace systems and platforms, supported U.S.-Russia treaties, and conducted routine security background investigations. Shortly thereafter, I was recruited into the Special Activities Program with the Department of the Army. This led me into new assignments throughout Latin America and the Caribbean. As an intelligence operations officer, my responsibilities included oversight of sensitive source operations, counterinsurgency missions, support counter-narcotics. Immediately his career really took a turn. Immediately following the aftermath of September 11th, the attacks of September 11th, I spent the following years working alongside our brave men and women in uniform in Afghanistan. and in the Middle East. In these environments, I worked with the full spectrum of U.S. intelligence and law enforcement agencies, focusing our efforts along with special operations to identify and defeat terrorist organizations. In this environment, I was able to work within a multinational effort supporting the global war on terror. After several assignments in the Middle East, and I'm going to fill this blank in real quick in a second, I was assigned to Washington, D.C. as the Overseas Investigations Desk Officer. There I had the responsibility of managing foreign intelligence and terrorist investigations worldwide. Okay, that's some responsibility. Over the next several years, I worked within a variety of intelligence agencies and organizations. In 2008, I was asked to be part of the now famous ATIP, Advanced Aerospace, not Aerosmith, Aerospace Threat Identification Program. In 2010, as a staff member for the Office of the Secretary of Defense, I assumed the lead role for this endeavor. Our mission was to conduct scientific-based intelligence investigations of incursions by UAPs into controlled U.S. airspace. In 2017, with a heavy heart, I resigned from my position inside the Pentagon in an effort to raise awareness of the UAP issue. The decision to resign was based on my sense of loyalty to the Secretary of Defense at that time, James Mattis, and my beloved department, in order to dismantle the bureaucratic silos and stovepipes hindering the conversation about this important topic. Okay. And that's where he decided to resign and talk to the New York Times and stuff. Okay, so what I found out as of yesterday was, what I didn't know, is that when he was in Afghanistan and supporting the counterterrorism efforts, I believe he was directly under James Mattis. That's why he calls him the secretary, and he just had the utmost respect for James Mattis. And by the way, many, many, many in our armed forces have extreme respect for Secretary Mattis. I forget, I guess he was a general, right? Especially the Marine Corps. And so they can do no wrong, basically, to a lot of these folks. He was very well respected. And he is well respected by patriotic Americans like myself, for sure. I always did, respect the guy, of course, for his service and whatnot. Then when he was defense secretary, I thought he did a really good job. And he stood up to Donald Trump when he started to be a tyrant and he quit. So props to Mattis. Okay. Good on you. Okay. So when he was in Afghanistan, he served under Mattis, perhaps directly, and was instrumental somehow. I don't know exactly how. It's probably classified, but if you know Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who was he's the biggest guy basically we captured, right, from Al Qaeda. Remember, he's in Guantanamo Bay right now. As part of that, Lue Elizondo was on the prosecuting side, somehow involved, to the point where during this trial, and I don't even know is it still ongoing? I don't know. It might be. He's still in Guantanamo, so I guess technically it is. As part of this prosecuting side, the judge or the tribunal, however they run it there, ordered that his records be retained, and forever. We can't get rid of his paper trail, basically, since he's involved in this and it's ongoing. This is where the Pentagon really messed up. Call it what you want, but they tripped up because they have a very open, understood requirement to not get rid of Lue Elizondo's records, emails, etc. It has slowly came out over time that all these insinuations and rumors and whatever. Oh, he wasn't really involved. He didn't run ATIP. ATIP wasn't even a thing. A half-truths. These things are half-true. It turns out when you look into it, oh, okay, well, yeah, it actually was a thing. And it was a code name for the ALSAP thing. And anyway, once you get into that, you'll understand. But the point is, it was very intentionally put out there, sprinkled out ever since he released his or, came out with this information to the public to discredit him. That's what he always claimed. And that's what I believe to be true now. Because everything he said to this point is true. I mean, it's borne out by people who are actually looking into it, who are not involved with the Pentagon. And okay, so anyway, it turns out that people are now filing Freedom of Information Act requests to get to the bottom of this with the Pentagon, saying, hey, Elizondo says he was part of this and you said he wasn't. We'd like this email, please, that says that he was. And somebody produced an email, leaked it, and said, oh, this looks real. Let me FOIA that and go to the Pentagon. Hey, can you release this, please? We've got this. Here's the actual number on it. All the dates, the people involved. It's very, very specific now. They have to look for this thing. And they came back to this requester and said, we don't have that. It doesn't exist. It's destroyed. It was destroyed. Problem, you can't destroy it. You were told not to. Turns out they didn't destroy it. They lied. They lied on a FOIA. That's very, very illegal. Very illegal. So now they're illegally dumping on the guy. They're illegally lying about his communications that they have kept, which they said they didn't. They're lying to the public through the FOIA process. They're lying to apparently somebody else internally. And that's the whole point of Elizondo coming out at all, was because of this stuff, Anyway, that's the story of him, okay? And then as of last night, it turns out that these threats that he has received over the years apparently have really ratcheted up. Like something has happened where he's really concerned, like tonight, like last night. And then others chimed in who are not related to him or his situation or his past, chimed in and said, yes, actually, I do know of a specific threat against him right now. So that's bad, right? Can we all agree on that? The reality of a whistleblower in any context, certainly with our country, is sacred, really. It's sacred. You can't retaliate against someone just trying to do the right thing. So they're blowing the whistle on something that's immoral or illegal. And again, the history is on the whistleblower side, okay, from the CIA, Iran-Contra, many corporate whistleblowers, right? EPA, people violating the law, environmental laws, or just, again, all types of retaliations. And those range from, career retaliation, taking your security clearances, to harassing your family, making physical threats, saying they're going to hurt you, actually hurting you, and actually killing you. And the really with this issue, above most others that have come out, is that the government, I can tell you, just this is me talking from my research, looking into this stuff, they are extremely serious about keeping this a secret. And it's possible, and people have said this, and I can't prove it, but it's possible, and it wouldn't surprise me that they have hurt and killed to keep this secret, because it has been deemed so important to not reveal. It's as if we were back in the Manhattan Project. We're treating this topic, and we have all along, as a country, as a intelligence, and as a military matter. We're treating the UFO, UAP issue, whatever's behind it that we don't want to talk about, since 1945, as important, at least, as the nuclear bomb. Before we had it, right? That's the Manhattan Project. We're the crash course to create it. Hurry, because we know the Nazis are working on it, and if they get it before we can destroy them, God knows what will happen. Hitler's going to conquer Europe, and then Lord knows what's next, right? So the rush was on. Even after World War II ended, it continued, even though we didn't have it yet, because the Russians apparently were after it, or the Soviets at the time. So we really went all out on that. So in that, how they devised to create it, you probably already know this, but the massive project was only known, the whole scope of it was only known by a few people. Robert Oppenheimer, right? Famous story, person, movie just came out, right? And a few others, but not a lot of others. Just a few. This is the template, okay? Only a few know the whole program of what the details are, what the point of it is, why we're doing it, and what the goal is, and how we're going to get there. And to get there, we need to have many, many people on it in different capacities, right? This particular job, you're going to work on the technical side. You're going to work on the delivery system. You're going to work on the science, splitting the atom. You're going to work on the whatever. All these different parts are going to be separated or compartmentalized, put into different compartments, or what Lue said, silos, or what's the other word he used? Stovepipes. A stove, the old style stoves. You had the wood burning stove, and there's a big pipe that get the smoke out of your house. That, okay, that's, in other words, you can only be in there, and you can't touch the stove next to you, right? The pipe next to you. They don't communicate. They don't know what the other's doing. They don't know who they are, even potentially, right? That's the way the Manhattan Project was set up. Just so happens, right along the same time that we discover how to split the atom, that we have a major problem with things flying around in our skies and potentially crashing and spying on us doing this. And right from the beginning, that's been the UAP concern, the UFO concern, which is, why are they around our nuclear sites? This has got to be the Russians. It turns out it wasn't. And who else could do that? No one else could. This is the 40s. And the 30s, apparently, we had a craft or some type of crash in Italy. And we were brought in on that because we had smart guys here, or whatever, or equipment, or lots of land where you can, I don't know. But yeah, so that turns out to be true. So they treated it the same way. So they said, okay, well, first of all, let's cover this so no one ever finds out. Easy. Anything, since all our experience with these UFOs and UAPs and whatever, and when we try to capture them, or if we do get something, or if we have an engagement with them somehow, radiation is always part of the equation. There's some kind of radioactivity going on from the stuff itself, from the people have been hurt, getting radiation burned and things. So I said, okay, anything has to do with these things automatically going under the Department of Energy, nuclear secrecy. Automatic. That's where it's been. And then, so of course, now you have a bigger program. Well, wait a minute. Now we got these things. Maybe we can shoot them down. Maybe we can. What is going on with them? Is there communications, right? All the unknowns that are still out there are because the intention is never to have communication between these parts. And if anything ever does come out against our will, leak out, we have to put it down hard. We have to deny everything. Make up stories if we have to, completely just lie, make something up, which we know they have done again and again and again. not in general, not politicians lying. Your military has intentionally lied to you many, many times. In the intelligence community, the CIAs of the world, the NSAs, all those awesome letters that have started after 1948, 47, excuse me, right after Roswell. All those agencies, we know, have lied to you over and over. At least with the intelligence, with the CIA and stuff, you can say, well, that's what they do, right? That's what they're paid for. They're spies. They're supposed to be sneaky. They're supposed to not reveal secrets. They're supposed to lie if they have to. I think that's crazy, but okay, fine. But the military, the Pentagon, right? The war fighters, your Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, now Space Force. By the way, the Air Force was created right after Roswell as well. Interesting. So you have all this, but they're going to lie. And they lied about Roswell. We're now on our fourth different explanation as of today about what was recovered in Roswell. Fourth. And we know that fourth one isn't true either. But anyways, it's not weird. Why would it be strange that they would lie about Lue Elizondo now and try to cover it up and just make stuff up? Like there was no ATIP and he wasn't in charge of anything. And he's just one of this, what is the Arrow now? The fraudulent all domain anomaly resolution office. You know right from the get-go that was a scam, because when you're not going to resolve everything, it's the resolution office. The history is against you. You know for a fact you're not going to resolve everything. There's up to 10% of UFO reports are unresolvable. Not possible. It's not because you don't have data, not because you don't have the science or the money behind it. It's because they're not explainable. You don't know what they are. They're not yours. They're not somebody else's. They're not balloons. They're not swamp gas. They're not Venus. They're not secret technology, whatever. They're not made up. They're not delusional people. All that stuff. There's not a great, huge percentage, but it's always been between 3, 4, 5, 10%, even up to 20%, depending on what metric you want to use. So somewhere between 5 and 20. All right, take your pick. Are always unresolvable. So to create a resolution office just tells you that it was rotten. They're not into investigating anything. They're only out to resolve. Resolve that. Yep, resolve. Check. Take your pick. There's so many instances of them just lying about stuff. To you, to me. And where's all the money, by the way? That's where a lot of the Congress is really upset right now. They should be, for many reasons. But for the conservative congressmen and stuff, like Burchett, he's all about, where's the darn money? What'd you do with my money? And it's not just, we know this is going on for years and years and years, and it's billions and billions and billions and billions and more and more and more. Where did it go? He famously tells you every time they never passed an audit, the Pentagon. Why not? Why do they keep failing them? Because they keep losing billions of dollars, losing it. Whoopsie. Well, that's what happens when you have to fund programs that don't exist, that are unacknowledged. That's what this basically is all about. Is this unconstitutional, immoral, illegal thing called an unacknowledged special access program. It means you cannot legally, you sign a paper that says, I will never tell anyone not only what I'm working on or what the project is or the name of it, but that it even is real. It doesn't exist. What I do for a living, for my government, doesn't happen, right? That's talking about reality, mind melting. What I do doesn't happen every day, right? You have to say it doesn't exist. Otherwise, you violated your deal. What do you do with people like that? Well, there's certainly been words spoken to people who are threatening to break their agreements about these special access programs. They float Leavenworth out there, which is prison for life, or worse, torture, hurt your family, kill you, kill your kids. All these things are floated out there. I don't know what's actually been done about it to someone who may have leaked something, but you're never going to know. That's the thing of it, right? That's the thing about secrecy, is you're never going to find out if someone actually did violate it and got thrown in Leavenworth military prison for life. And there's no way to adjudicate it. They're done. So, Lue Elizondo has, to me, even though he has his own way, he's not comfortable giving interviews. It's clear. But I think at this point, I've reached a conclusion that he is telling the truth. He's doing it for the right reasons. Of course, he has theories, and you can go find videos and interviews and stuff that he, when he does give opinions, they're pretty out there, right? It's not as simple as, for those of you who may be thinking this, it is not a case of there's aliens in outer space and they're here and we're covering that up. He never says that. Not that I've heard. I don't think he believes that. He would say he says things like the truth is far stranger than that. There's a reason why David Grush, who I thought right off the bat when he came out in public last year, was eminently believable. I mean, to me, he just seemed like, yep, this is exactly everything he's saying is exactly true. I mean, to him, right? I mean, he's not lying. He's not making it up. This is what he understands to be right and true. And he's going public because it needs to be done. And so anyone that has come out, try to poo-poo him and, whatever, it's easy to dismiss that. So basically what I'm saying is, I think we're free to dismiss any of this, these doubtings, mockers, and whatever you want to call folks who are trying to hurt the reputation of Lue Elizondo, because I don't think it's smart. I don't think you should do that. I think you should believe him. And I think we need to support him as people who love the truth. I don't care where you fall on this. I don't care if you're, again, I'm thinking as a Christian man. I follow Jesus. I don't follow my own heart. I hope I'm not. I want to give the gospel to people, to tell them about eternal life, that there's more to this world than all this stuff. But guess what? This is really important too. And I people have asked me in church settings. I mean, like I'm in my local church or online like this, and somebody will say, well, what, do you believe in UFOs? I'm like, first of all, I've seen one. So it's not a question of belief. I don't know what it was, but I am a experiencer. Okay. But number two, I just want to believe what's true. Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. I just want to believe what's true. My word is truth, right? That's what matters to me. The truth will set you free, right? So I want to believe what's true, and I don't want to believe what's not true. So whatever is the case, whatever is true about this UFO, UAP, cover-up, Pentagon, ATIP, yada, yada, I want to believe it because it's true. And whatever's the truth behind the UFO thing, the phenomenon, the beings behind it, the intelligence behind it, the NHI, non-human intelligence, I want to believe it because it's true, not because I want to believe it or I want to not believe it. And here's the final point, I think. And you guys, please go ahead and make your input known. Maybe you think I'm full of it, or there's something I'm missing, or I should know this about Elizondo or something. Just tell me. The other part of this is during last night when all this was coming out, Ross Coulthart, who again, one of the few, I guess, who I really do trust. I really think he's super legitimate. And one of the only people actually doing journalism on this in the world. There's not many. Chris Sharp is another one. And there are others. But the point is, Ross comes on and I listen, I pay attention. And he and many others who have worked sources now and have developed sources and relationships over, the past, 7 years now, are frustrated, like the listeners are, that they can't divulge all that they know to be true, or even that the people that they know and where they work and all that, because they're, as someone who is in that field, your number one priority is to protect your source who's telling you these facts. Make sure they're not in danger in any way. So if they really are being threatened, and if there really are whistleblowers in danger, it's even more important as a journalist to not divulge things. But anyway, he said he has been told, and he understands to be true, at least some part, or a major part, or I don't know, of the resistance for this issue to come out. And part of the reason why whistleblowers like Lue Elizondo are being threatened right now with pain and death is by some measure and some number of people like me, evangelical Christians. Now, I know I'm non-denominational and all that, and I really don't like any title other than Christian, but I know what he means. People who read the Bible for themselves, who say they're filled with the Holy Spirit, say they need to tell somebody about Jesus today. That's an evangelical. Okay, well, if that's it, then that's me. But he's saying people like me are not only actively keeping the secret, but are persecuting those who want to reveal this issue. They themselves are doing the bad stuff, or at least providing the cover, the intellectual or the belief, the faith cover, so to speak. Now, as a Christian, I don't understand this. Ross is saying, and he's not the only one to say this, and every time it comes up, I text my partner, my research partner on this, who shall remain nameless, and every single time, like, I can't believe this is happening again. I can't believe this. Can this be true? Like, what is this about? Where are they coming from in this? Is this true? If this is true, what are these Christians in the Pentagon doing? And I've heard some, details like it's mostly in the Air Force. This group that is not only scared to reveal it, but actively persecuting those who would. And their cover for it is, their reason behind that is their Christianity. They are afraid. They're afraid, not a Christian attitude, by the way, to be afraid of anything except the Lord. They are afraid that the UFO phenomenon, called UAPs, call it what you will, and I've heard this from some of you guys, some viewers, some friends, some people will comment on social or email me or whatever. UFO issue, just blanket statement. UFOs are demonic. Blanket statement. With no supporting evidence. I'm sick and darn tired of my fellow Christians doing that. You look arrogant and like a know-it-all when you don't know. That's the uncomfortable truth about this whole thing, guys, is even these ones covering it up, even these guys for 80 years now not telling the truth and who do know the program, who do know everything, who know the SAPs and all that stuff, everything that I've ever heard about it, every person who's involved pretty much says the same thing, which is they don't get it. They don't know the answer. To the top of the chain, as far as we know, and this might be wrong information, maybe they just don't know a high enough person, but from every comment I've heard on this, it's always, even the people who do know about this crash retrieval program, let's say, they don't know where they're coming from. They don't know where these vehicles come from. They don't know what the occupants, where they're from. They don't know if they're from outer space. They don't know if they're from another dimension. They don't know if they're even real life forms. They don't know if they're created biological, androids. They don't know how to drive the ships. Like they have technology. They have it in a hangar and they're working on it for decades and can't do anything with it. They don't know why you need to. There's some kind of mental interface with them that makes them work. They don't understand any of this stuff. So it's not like they know the truth and it's demonic. It's like they don't know nothing. So if the guys who are actually working on it 24/7 don't know the answers, why do you? Because why do we as a church? Because our track record sucks. Our track record sucks. Okay, with new world shaking, like revelations or technologies, we are always on the wrong side of it. We're always calling things satanic and against God, and we're not allowed to fly to the moon, or we can't get beyond the atmosphere. There's a barrier up there. We can't go to, send a probe to Mars. The earth is really not round. It's right there in the Bible. The four corners must be flat. That's what Christians used to believe, and some still do. Right? Mark of the beast. Everything's the darn mark of the beast. Credit cards, every type of microchip in your computer, barcodes on your soda, you name it. We're always anticipating the worst, and we end up looking stupid. Does that honor God? Does it honor Jesus to look stupid in his name? To drag his name through the mud that these idiot Christians are at it again? And don't get me started on the rapture stuff. Every couple of weeks is a new rapture date. Guess what? That's going to be wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong. And every time you're wrong, you cost a soul. Somebody's going to lose faith because of your stupid comments. And you just know. Anyways, as you can tell, I'm a little passionate about this, and the fact that potentially, if you believe the people who are saying it, that Christians are actively, and he's specified evangelical Christians. Now, I don't know if anyone's bothering to ask what the religions of these people are who are opposing it. Are they Catholics? Are they right? Are they Orthodox? Are they Lutherans, like, Presbyterians, or just everyone's a quote unquote evangelical because that's what all Christians are to the outside world? I don't know. But I don't care if it's only a small, teeny percent. I want to talk to every one of those dopes, excuse me. But you're, as a brother in Christ, you're dope. If this is your real opinion, you don't look. I know a little bit, and I'm saying this in love, seriously. I want to sit down with you. I want to interview you off camera. I don't care. I want to talk to you, and you have experience. You're working in this field. You're in the Pentagon. You're in intelligence services. You know something about this UFO phenomenon that's secret, and you don't want it to get out. Tell me why. and it's because of your Christianity, tell me as a Christian why. Look, I'm not trying to toot my own horn at all. I'm trying to be humble. I don't know the darn answer. And it's not because I don't happen to work in the Pentagon. Apparently nobody knows. Everyone's opinions are like, you know what's, right? Okay, everyone's got opinions. But facts, what do we know for a fact? Yes, I want to talk to you. I know a little bit about demonology. I know a little bit about spiritual warfare. I know I've educated myself a pretty good degree, not comparing myself to anybody. My text. Oh God. Maybe I needed to be distracted there for a second. Look, I've looked into demonology. I've made an intentional over years now, because I know the supernatural realm is real. I know demons are real. I know angels are real. I know it because of the Bible tells me so, and I know it because of personal experience. I know the supernatural world, the unseen realm. Sorry for all the air quotes. I know it's real. I've had experiences, quote unquote. Okay. The Holy Spirit has dealt with me directly many times. There's no explanation for things that have happened with me, to me, through me, and the people in my life other than him and the supernatural world. So I know it's real. You don't have to convince me it's freaking real. I know about demons. I know about fallen angels. I know enough about it to teach on it. I know enough about it to go on a live stream in public to, I don't know, the 4 people that will watch this. And hopefully being shared, right? I encourage you all to share this. Probably 40 minutes too late to tell you that, because everyone tunes out after the beginning. But anyways, it's interesting to me. I want to know about the unseen world. I want to know about the dimensional aspect of this. I want to know how Jesus can walk through the wall. I want to know how we can just appear. Oh, by the way, how can he walk through the wall? And then you can touch him. Look, touch me, Thomas. Look, put your finger in my hole in my hand or my side. I'm not a ghost, he says. I'm not a spirit. I'm a flesh person. I'm still the same guy. I'm just alive now, right? How is that very flesh and blood, literally, touch you, same person, can walk through the wall and literally disappear and reappear? That fascinates me. How is it that demons can, first of all, be invisible all the time? There's never, I don't know any instance in the Bible at all where a demon appears. Ever. Correct me. Somebody correct me. They're always talked about as being inside something else. Inside a person or a pig. What else is there? What other examples are there? There's 0 examples of a demon appearing as anything. Fallen angels. Yes, they have a form for sure. Just like good angels. Angels are angels, whatever they are. You can choose whether to follow God or not. If you don't, you're a fallen angel, right? Okay. Again, I've studied this. I've looked at the scriptures. I don't see anywhere where there's angels can leave and come and go as they please. I read Revelation 12, by the way, which is my t-shirt today. There's Michael right there and Satan down there they're at war, because that hasn't happened yet. That's a big thing that I teach that no one else really is into or thinks I'm crazy, that Revelation 12 is not in the past. Like, there's still a war in heaven that's going to happen between Satan and Michael and these great armies of angels against each other. And this is when Satan and his angels are cast to the earth. Hasn't happened yet. So don't tell me that Satan and his angels are UFOs. Makes no sense. I'm not saying I know it all. I'm not saying it's impossible, But I need a lot more information. You need a lot more information to make statements like that. As far as you know, as far as I know, UFOs could be good angels. God sending them on missions. I don't know. I'm not confident in that idea, but it's possible. They don't have to be angels at all. Right? Even if you don't want to entertain the idea of another species, maybe that's grown up on the earth with humanity, but has kept itself secret. Or some species from another world, Mars, or the moon, or farther away. Maybe much farther away. Or again, just, okay, maybe it's not that. Maybe it's a highly intelligent form of ourselves. Maybe we've invented time travel, right? I mean, like, I'm just saying, we talked about these things a lot, but don't say you know. As a Christian, you look really bad. Yes, we know there's a spiritual reality. We know there's another dimension that we can't see. There's a whole, Bible study you can do on the second heaven. It's not the heaven that we see. It's unseen, but it's also not where God is. So there's this area there that's really unstudied and we don't really think about. That could have something to do with this. It could, but it also could not. Anyway. All right, I'm done. Lue Elizondo. I agree with Madam Rex, who way long time ago said praying for Lue's family. Lue and family. Yes, we should do that. I don't know what his beliefs are. I don't know. His dad was a Cuban. That's all I know. Probably Catholic upbringing. But maybe not. I don't know. And it doesn't matter. He's trying to do the right thing. And so there's this topic with him specifically, and the lies and the violence that's after him is very dark. That I know. That I do know. It's dark. This whole situation stinks, okay? Not the whistleblowers. They're actually trying to do something good. The Grushes and the Elizondos and even the Fravers and the Graves of the world and whatever, and the I don't want to leave anyone out. The Gallaudets and the Carl and the Chris Mellons. Even if they're not strictly whistleblowers, the point is that they were in the military, they were in government, very high positions, and they know something stinks. Something stinks. It's very dark. And especially as you might not think of me this way, and because I've been very against, false patriotism and idolatry of presidents and your country, and you shouldn't, as Christians, we got to be above that and get our friggin' act together. But I still love the country that I'm in, and I want it to survive. I don't want it to die, but apparently it's already dead because there is a secret government. And I'm just being real here. I'm not a paranoid person. I know paranoid people do use terms like that, but I'm going to use it. It's a secret government that uses black friggin' helicopters. We know this because they're on friggin' video on Skinwalker Ranch. It's a secret government with black helicopters and all that stuff on the X-Files. It's real. And they're not elected. And they make fun of elected officials, even though they're the ones in charge. If you have a constitutional democracy, if you have a republic that's governed by a document that divides powers, first of all, from the governed, so the power really is in my hands, and I send all these guys here in the Congress, in the House and the Senate, and my local state leaders, and the president, I vote for all those guys and gals. Except for the Supreme Court, I vote for all those people. And this other government in here for decades now makes fun of them as temporary employees, quote unquote. Temporary employees of me. To mock it and say they don't have control over what we do. They don't have the control of our money. They don't have to know what we're up to. That we're never going to tell anybody. And if anyone tries to spill the beans, we're going to hurt them. That's them. That's your secret government. That's the one that doesn't get elected, is replaced King George with the secret UFO people. Okay, if you want to call it the deep state, go right ahead. I don't like that term; is ridiculous, but think of it that way if you want. The deep state is not Republican, Democrat, liberal, or conservative. Doesn't care about who's elected. The deep state is about UFOs, apparently. How crazy is that? That's the only evidence I've ever seen. It always comes back to this. So yes, it's a really big deal. And if Christians are preventing this and are threatening people and are doing immoral, illegal things in the name of Christ, I got a problem with you. And Jesus has a problem with you. That should scare the heck out of you. Not me, him having a problem. Please, if somebody in the sound of my voice, if someone ever hears this, whether today or in the future, through any format, video or audio, or what somebody shared an email, whatever, please reach out to me. DM me on X right there at Manti4. You can email if you want, Christopher@wingsoftheeagle.com. You can, I don't care. I'm on Signal, Telegram, whatever you want to use, okay? Tell me, show me, what are you thinking? Show me the scripture that you're doing the illegal, immoral cover-up with. Because I want to pray for you. All right, my friends. That's enough for today. So that's Lue Elizondo. That's his history. That's what I think is happening. Apparently, it's a very urgent threat on his life and maybe his family. So treat it seriously. And Lord willing, we'll be back at this. Who knows when news breaks. Okay. But this is the Unsealed podcast by Wings of the Eagle. Please support the podcast by going to wingsoftheeagle.com/support Unsealed, or we have a Patreon now open. If you want, I don't care if you're a Christian or not. If you just want to talk about this UFO topic in a secure, private way, maybe you're a whistleblower. Maybe you're in the Pentagon right now. Maybe you're in the services. Go join the aviary at patreon.com/wingsoftheeagle. And for $5 a month, get a secure platform for yourself to talk among friends who, I don't know, maybe it never works, but it's there. All right, guys, till next time, this is Pastor Manti or your friend Christopher saying goodbye for Wings of the Eagle Unsealed.